Hi guys, Josh here from the Phoenix Club on my balcony here in Lyon. I've had to come for some air really. What the hell was that? I have to laugh because it was just absolutely terrible. I said it was absolutely terrible. I actually thought that United were the better of the two sides for the majority of the game, particularly in the second half. And Tom, I don't know if any of you have seen the preview that we did to this game. He actually said that the better team on the day would end up winning. I actually disagree. Having watched the game, I thought that United were the better side, and we ended up losing. But ultimately, Arsenal did the business. They had two opportunities which they took. Let's focus on the first goal for a second. I don't think the criticism of David De Gea is massively fair. Yeah, maybe he should have saved it, but I think we shouldn't take away from what a great shot it was from Granit Xhaka. Whether there was swerve on it, whatever he managed to do to outfox De Gea, he still managed to outsmart him. He managed to send him the wrong way, and I thought it was a great finish. And look, David De Gea didn't have a great game. I thought Bernd Leno actually had a fantastic game. He even, with that sweeper keeper moment when Lukaku was through on goal, I thought was phenomenal. But if we're talking about maybe the tactics battle, if you want to call it that, between Solskjaer and Unai Emery, I don't necessarily think that Emery prevailed in any tactics battle. The only thing that he perhaps got right was, or maybe it was just the players themselves, where they weren't necessarily going forward for that third goal too much. They were kind of happy to let United do all the pressing because United had to go all out, whereas Arsenal knew if they sat back and perhaps let United tire themselves out a bit more, then it would have been job done, and that's exactly what happened. So from that point of view, I thought Arsenal did play a blinder. But I think one thing that Solskjaer got massively wrong was taking Dalot off instead of Fred for Anthony Martial. I don't think Fred should ever play for Manchester United ever again. I think he's a dreadful player. £50 million for that. I mean, maybe he had one slightly good game against PSG, but he's bloody awful. I mean, Fred the Red, more like Fred the Dead. He's absolutely terrible. Shakhtar Donetsk are rubbing their hands, must be, after watching that game and seeing him put in a performance like that. I mean, the penalty to one side for a second. So many misplaced passes. He doesn't know where his teammates are half the time. Instead of making, perhaps, for example, instead of turning to the right, he was turning to the left and opening himself out. Instead of opening himself out, he turns into where all the Arsenal centre-backs were defending, or whether the centre midfielders were coming back to defend. He just doesn't know what's going on, and he is not a Manchester United player at all. And maybe we do have to give him time to adapt to the game. But for £50 million, I think, come on, we expect a bit more than that from Fred. So I don't think he should ever play for the club again. He's absolutely shocking. And I think that one thing that Solskjaer did get wrong was taking Dalot off. He was making some brilliant overlapping runs, particularly on that right-hand side alongside Romelu Lukaku. I think that was one thing that Solskjaer did get wrong. But look, all things do come to an end, don't they? And United weren't going to never lose a game under Solskjaer. I don't think that this does ruin his chances of getting the job. In fact, I think that this is now the big test for Solskjaer. How do you bounce back after a defeat? We saw what happened after we lost to PSG. We bounced back. We got a great 0-0 draw against Liverpool, which perhaps in and of itself isn't, it's a draw, but against essentially a free-scoring Liverpool side this season, to keep a clean sheet against them, I thought was actually pretty good. And then to beat PSG in the second leg to the extent that we qualified on away goals was phenomenal. So I don't think that one defeat against Arsenal, which yes, it takes them above us in the table, but I don't think that Solskjaer should be too worried about his job, and I don't think that the United hierarchy should be using this as a basis for which they won't hire him, because ultimately I think that he's done a remarkable job still. And I think, as I said, I think the big test now is how do United recover from defeat, the first defeat in the league under Solskjaer. This is the big test. How do we move forward for the next 7-8 games for the rest of the season? How do we also balance the league, the FA Cup and the Champions League moving forward? I mean, for me, and I think Jamie Carragher actually hit the nail on the head when he said this, that too many clubs too often are prioritising qualifying for next season's Champions League, that they start forgetting or not really worrying about this season's Champions League. And I think that's what United don't have to do. I would sooner finish 5th and win the Champions League and the FA Cup than go out in the quarterfinals of both and finish 4th. For me, I think trophies are far more important than finishing in the top 4. Not only that, if we win the Champions League, we then qualify for next season's by virtue of winning the competition. So again, I don't really see this defeat affecting us too much moving forward. In terms of Arsenal, on a quick note, I think that Unai Emery is certainly showing, well, his team is showing signs of his philosophy being brought into play. I thought Aubameyang and Lacazette were phenomenal today. A great partnership, and it's almost, I suppose, it's almost Colin York-esque in that respect. They've got pace, they've got finesse, they've got technique, they've got not quite a telepathy, maybe not quite to the same extent as Colin York, but certainly they know where each other are. They know the correct weight of the pass. They know how to feed them in. They know the through balls. And so I thought they were phenomenal today. And certainly if they manage to stay fit and to keep their partnership going for the next 2 or 3 years, then I don't think it'll be too long before Arsenal are challenging for titles once again. But to summarise, there's not much more I can say that I've not already said. I thought that United were dreadful today, and look, I think if they are casting for the next Hangover film, then I think most of that squad certainly are candidates for the casting couch. But look, as I said, Solskjaer, I don't think we should be too worried about his job. I don't think we should ever get away from the remarkable job that he's done with United so far. And look, we were never gonna avoid defeat forever, ultimately. And in many respects, I'd rather it did come against a side that's, at least pushing for the top places like Arsenal, as opposed to a team down the bottom. But ultimately, I think that Arsenal did deserve to win just because they put their chances away. United didn't, and ultimately, if you don't put your chances away, you do deserve to be punished. So yeah, I perhaps should take this shirt off. I'm gonna just relax, enjoy the French air, and try and gather my thoughts again as Tom and I come to review perhaps this match and some of the other matches from this weekend on our review show, which will be coming out sometime next week. On a quick note before I do sign off though, we have created separate club accounts for each team in the Premier League. Now Twitter aren't being very helpful in the fact that between Tom and I, we've created multiple accounts, so they've kind of locked us out on some of them. But I think certainly for the top 6, top 10 teams currently in the league, those accounts should be live. So please give them a follow. The general trend of the usernames is TPC_club name. So please give those a little look and, of course, follow. And don't forget to subscribe to the Phoenix Club. I think at the time of recording, we're on 89 subscribers now. So that's incredible. And look, we only started a month and a half ago, so to have got this far, Tom and I are both absolutely delighted. But yeah, I think that's enough from me. I saw a message coming through as I recorded this from Tom saying, please make this a rant. I hope I haven't made this too angry a rant. I've tried to remain a bit composed throughout this because I'd rather take my aggression out on the pillow instead. But yeah, so I'm Josh, United fan. Not a very happy United fan though. We will see you next week. Thanks for watching.